The Dental Download Podcast is your source for insight into dental school, conversations with dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Haley Schultz. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download Podcast. I'm coming at you extra cheery, of course, because of the holiday season, but more so, let's be honest, because I'm on break. I have a 2.5-week break. It started this past Wednesday, and then we have this whole week with Christmas off, and then the week after Christmas, like going up to the New Year off, and we start classes on Tuesday. I believe it's January 4th or 5th. So I'll be moving back to Ann Arbor for that, but I spent half the break with my boyfriend in Indiana where he works, and then the other half of the break over the actual holidays with my parents down in Florida. That's where I'll be for the remainder of my time off, and then I'll be home to celebrate New Year's with my friends. That's the recap of life lately. Finals and everything will be discussed more in detail 2 episodes from now. This week's topic is going to be things to consider approaching dental school, so really geared towards those students that were just accepted to dental school, or even if you're thinking ahead and you're still in the pre-dental phase, not necessarily an incoming dental student yet, things to keep in mind about your mindset and what to do, maybe what I don't recommend doing yet. And then the following week, we have a guest. She is a practice owner. And then the next week is going to be that semester recap that I do every single semester. So I'll walk through how my grades turned out, the highs and the lows of the semester as a whole, and talk a little bit about all of the classes. I do have another episode up already, though, going in detail to each class this semester around midterm season, so you can go ahead and listen to that one if you're interested to see what kind of classes I was taking and everything. But in the meantime, let's get into this episode topic, which is the mindset you can have approaching dental school. Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right away from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify, but also everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available, and you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Did I mention it is totally free, no catch? I've been using Spotify for Podcasters since the very beginning of my show, and now we're nearing our 200th episode, so I can definitely say it's an easy platform, and I've really loved using it. So be sure to download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. So what should you consider before starting dental school? What kind of mindset do I recommend that you have? And some common questions I get asked, I figured I could talk a little bit about today. So the first thing I recommend thinking about and planning ahead for is finances, of course. You're going to usually want to apply for your FAFSA in around the winter. If you are accepted by now, you can already start looking into that, and you can contact your school's financial aid office. I'm definitely not the go-to person for dental school finances by any means, but my biggest thing would just be starting to save money now, this last semester and over your summer break, to try to take out as little loans as possible. Try to limit it to just tuition and cost of living, or even put some of your own savings into cost of living like food and things like that. If you're able to budget that ahead of time, then you're not taking out money that's going to incur interest and just make life a little bit more stressful later on. So if you're able to, think about saving up some money now. And same thing for money. Also try to be reasonable when choosing where you're going to live at your dental school. Think about roommates, think about finding affordable options, talk to older students to see if any of the fourth years graduating can hand over their lease to you, because usually once you've been in a town for longer, you're able to find the better deals, and those will probably be something that the current dental students have and they're graduating, so they might be up for grabs for you. The next thing is if you're in undergrad and so you just got accepted and you have a semester left, I would say try to stress as little as possible and enjoy this last semester. Say yes to all the fun opportunities, go to all the sports games, go to the socializing, get dinner with your friends, get brunch with your friends, go home to see your family, whatever is fun for you. Try to do as much of that as possible. Don't stress as much about your grades as you have the past, 5 semesters of life. Just go ahead and take a B in a class. It won't be the end of the world. It should not affect your dental school admission. So I would just say make the most of this time because, of course, dental school will be pretty time consuming. So enjoy this time while you have it. Enjoy your last few months of undergrad and really make the most of them. And on the same note, I would say make the most of your summer break as well. Continue to give time to those friendships outside of dental school and relationships with family, loved ones, because those are the people that are going to be your base and the people you come back to during dental school when times are hard. They're going to be that kind of foundation for you. So you really want to value those relationships, show them that you care, show them that you have interest in continuing them after undergrad. And so make plans with them, spend time with them over summer break, maybe make some plans for in the fall semester or your next break to get together with people because it's going to make dental school much easier if you have a foundation of people to support you that are not part of the dental school community. And my next thing to think about is probably exciting for most of the type A listeners out there. Think about how you're going to organize yourself in dental school. What kind of student will you be? What kind of resources do you want to have to be on top of your game and feel a little less overwhelmed with the transition? So are you going to be an iPad student? Are you going to be a written on paper notes student? Do you need a new planner? Are you going to do digital or paper? And if you're going to do paper, I have a few recommendations to toss out there. A lot of dental students like the brand Passion Planner. I really like my Doing Well Daily Planner. It's a hybrid of like a wellness planner as well as a day-to-day planner. And I like that it's undated because I really don't use it every day. And then if you're looking for something cutesy and dental specific that you can get personalized, or if you want to gift this to someone, the brand Lilac Paper also makes really great dental planners. If you're going to a school and you already know what scrub color or scrub brand you're supposed to wear, or if it's like my school, you can wear any scrubs, then you could keep an eye out for sales, maybe get yourself a set or two before you start classes so you can kind of get extra excited for this new phase of your life. I know I was excited to buy a couple pairs of scrubs once I knew that I got into Michigan. And I get this question all the time, so I wanted to address it here. What do you think I should do to review over summer term? That way I'm ready to start dental school. Should I look over biochem or anatomy? Should I start learning dental anatomy? Won't it make it easier once I start that class? I would just say, no, slow down, calm down, enjoy your break. You're getting this little break, a few months before you start dental school. Do not fill it with studying if you don't have to, and you do not have to. You'll have adequate time to prepare during dental school. Yes, it'll be stressful, but everyone's in the same boat and everyone gets through it without cramming and trying to learn stuff ahead of time. Unless like you really actually want to, then okay. But if you're doing it out of being scared or feeling pressure from other people, totally not worth it. You can learn it just fine in the allotted time when the semester starts. And on the same topic of academics, I think it's important to be reminded of this. I know we all kind of know it in the back of our heads, but it's nice to go in with the right mindset that you're going to be in a class full of the best of the best. The best of the best students, of course, so people that are academically super successful, just like you were. Don't discount your own success, but they're going to be very successful, intelligent people, and it could be intimidating at first. So don't let it intimidate you. Go in with the right expectations and understand that there's going to be a lot of intelligent people scoring well. Things might seem like they're coming easier to people, but I'll talk about that later with like expectations and perceptions in this episode, but it's usually not the case anyways. Everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. You just don't always see the weaknesses come to light. But it can be easy to compare yourself, and it can be easy to get down if it feels like someone is excelling more than you, or if you were used to being top of your class or something in undergrad. everyone in your program is probably pretty equally matched with you. That's why you all ended up in the same program. So just be expecting that you're going to be with really intelligent people, and don't look at that as a negative thing. I love that all my classmates are so smart, come from amazing backgrounds, have all these really cool life experiences, and can do really well on exams. And yeah, at first maybe it was a little discouraging that for most classes I'm in the average range or I'm below average when it comes to test scores. But I don't let that discourage me. I use that as something to be grateful for. Like, wow, I still got into this program. I'm still here. I'm still passing. I'm doing well in certain classes and then getting by in other classes. So I use that as something to be grateful for and something to appreciate the strengths that my classmates are going to bring to the table, rather than looking at it as my own weaknesses. Look at them as your peers and people that you can learn from, and that you're able to teach things to them because you also have great experiences to bring to the table. So another thing that people ask me about, that people get worried about, I know I was worried about this, is how will I make friends, and also the living situation. Like, should I just live with classmates? Is that going to help? From my perspective, unfortunately, maybe you don't want to hear this, friendships just happen naturally. I know that's kind of annoying, especially if you're in the boat of it's not coming, so is there something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. For some people, they got that friend group the first socializing that they did that first night of dental school. For other people, it's many semesters till they find their couple people that really click with them. And that is okay, whichever way it happens. And of course, as for the roommate situation, you get closer with people the more time you spend with them. That's just how life works. So if you're living with classmates, that has the potential to accelerate those friendships and getting to know people on a deeper level because you're spending more time with them. So in my opinion, I think it's good to live with a classmate or two. In my situation this year, I live with one of my classmates and then two girls that are the class ahead of me in dental school, which I also really like that dynamic. So you could consider living with some upperclassmen as well. And still on that topic of housing, moving, living in a new place, I would try to move in and plan ahead if you're signing a lease or whatever. Try to get an early move in if necessary so that you can be in this town of your dental school and into your new place at least 3 days before classes start, ideally a full week before classes start. That way you can get acclimated to the area. And honestly, people are going to get there early and you'll have FOMO of class gatherings happening if you're not there. So I would try to get there about a week before classes start, just to start getting yourself together, feeling comfortable and feeling excited, because you should be excited. I don't want my candidness with not getting too excited to ruin your excitement levels. When I say have balanced expectations, have realistic expectations, I just am trying to get you to avoid disappointments. But you should still be very excited, of course, because it's an amazing time. It's just a little unpredictable, and your experience is going to be unique to you. It's not going to be like mine. It's not going to be like anyone else's. It's going to be yours, just like everything else in life. And on that topic, I feel that one of the things I always was thinking about when I was starting dental school is, when am I going to finally start to feel comfortable? Like, reflecting back on undergrad, you can think, okay, I got to this big university in my case, and how long did it take till I really felt comfortable there, till I kind of saw some friendly faces walking around, till I felt comfortable speaking up in class and knew my professors? Like, when is that going to click? I would say the thing that helps the most and can speed up that process is getting involved. Like, for me, joining clubs was the biggest lifesaver, I would say, because you're going to get to know people in your class, and that's great, but you really see your classmates all the time anyways, because your little cohort does everything together. But what you don't get interactions with otherwise is upperclassmen, students that are D2s, D3s, D4s, unless you're involved in student organizations, clubs. So ASDA is a great one. Most of your student body will probably be in that. But getting involved in anything that you're interested in on a more like passion level, so that could be like the sustainability club, the business club, the dental technology club, or if you want to specialize in something, or like women dentistry is one of the ones that I'm in. So those can be really great ways to get to know people at those meetings, or by getting on leadership boards, you can get to know people through those clubs, volunteer events. And honestly, just being able to walk around the building and see familiar faces, and then walking into clinic and actually having people say hi to you and know you, that makes everything so much more calming. So I would say get involved a lot your first year. You can always tailor it back. And there's no really obligations to actually attend things that you get involved in. So if you do feel like, oh my gosh, I have a big exam coming up, why did I join blank club? They have an event this week. You can just skip the event. In dental school, it's not like points or tiered like it is for some clubs in undergrad to have your membership. As long as you pay dues, you can go to as much or as little as you want. So I would say get involved in a good amount of things, because I feel like only good things can come from that. And lastly, I told you we were going to talk about it, expectations, comparison, perception of others. So my advice for approaching dental school, if you're an incoming student, is to reset those expectations and try to limit them if possible. I know it's hard. It's easy to hear my perspective or someone else that goes to the school you're attending and assume yours will be the same or similar, especially if you're going to that same school. And that can lead to a lot of stress and honestly disappointment. So do your best to focus on your own experience week to week leading up to dental school. Stay in your own emotions, stay in your own feelings and experiences. Try not to look to what others may or may not be doing. And same goes once you start dental school. Don't be stressing about how other people are progressing through that first semester or two of school. And like giving a personal anecdote here, like I would listen to Zooms as a pre-dental student or just starting out dental school with like an alumni panel or something. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, we're all best friends. We did everything together in dental school. Like this was my crew, this 10 of us. We still have a group chat. We're like 35 and we're all best friends. And I was like, wow, I can't wait to have that. But that doesn't happen for everybody, or it might look a little bit different. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I felt really bad a lot of first year because I was like, man, I don't have that group of like 10 people or whatever that I'm best friends with. But over time, I fell into friendships and grew in friendships individually with people more than like a group setting, and kept up those relationships outside of dental school, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, that I think all brings me so much joy, and I don't have that like FOMO or regret feelings anymore. And I think you'll realize the same thing as time goes on. However your situation develops, whether you are that person with that awesome dental school friend group and these are your ride or die people, or if dental school is just school and you have a life outside of school and people outside of school, and that's what you like to do. No matter how you do it, it doesn't matter. But I just think it's really important to go in with an open mind and go in knowing that anything can happen, and try to be excited about that, because everyone's on their own path. You can't see the full story of someone's situation from an outside perspective, so it doesn't do you any good to be comparing and thinking about what's going on for other people. All that you can know is yourself, and all that you can do is the best for yourself. So get excited for finally being in the program of your dreams and starting this new chapter in your life. I'm so excited for all of you. And be sure to reach out to me if you have any more questions about starting up at dental school. I'm so happy to help. You can reach out on the podcast Instagram. It's just at Dental Download Podcast. You could post a question in our Facebook group, Dental Download Podcast. Just search that on Facebook. And there's a bunch of dental students in there actually, if you want more perspectives than just myself, which I think is super important to get, more than just me. Or, of course, there's also my own Instagram page. It's just Haley Schultz Dental on Instagram, so you can check that out as well if you need to reach out to me and ask me any questions. And with all that being said, that'll be the end of this week's episode. I will talk to you next week for a conversation with Dr. Shelby Tesser about practice ownership.